Perfect. How everybody? Woohoo. We're back for lesson three of semester one, which we're going into meditation of the hearts. Some of you might already have experience with it because it's been around for some time, but we'll be going back into it today. Uh, I know some people were looking into it just a couple days ago, and they had questions, so this will be a great time for that. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, hello everybody. I'm Darcy-Raine. Uh, a rather new knight here at the IJF, but I've been around the community for a while. I'm also a knight with the Jedi Conclave. Currently, head over at the IJF chapter Jedi Britannia. Been around for around 9 years. Um, so today we'll be going through the meditation of the hearts. By the end of this lesson, you shall have an understanding of the meditation of the heart, the physical meditation form, as well as the overall idea of it. So let us begin. So, what is the meditation of the heart? Meditation of the heart. It was a form originally developed by the Heartland Jedi. It comprises of 4 lines and is codified in such a way that it leads towards having one confront, take accountability for, and make peace with one's emotion, i.e., their heart. Back in 2022, Sadnako, Sophia, Satunas, and myself set out to make a lightsaber form based around this meditation. So we'll be going into both of those today. So the code, easy peasy. It's a beautiful, simple 4 lines. I am a Jedi, a guardian of peace. These are my emotions. Let them speak to my soul. I will be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. These are my emotions. Thank you. Be still and go in peace. It's a simple moving, like as we said, it's codified to move through addressing emotions where you acknowledge what you are. You are acknowledging that you do have emotions, even though some people say that we should be detached from emotions. We can't be. We're human beings, not fictional characters. Um, we understand what they are, we learn, we hear them, we acknowledge them, and we let them speak to us. We just try not to listen. We hear them, we just don't listen to them. I will be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. In a very chaotic world, it can be very easy to get swept up by emotion, and as a result let them be in control. As Jedi, we try not to let that happen. Um, and then finally, these are my emotions. Once again, you are acknowledging that these are your emotions. You thank the emotions. You ask them to be still and to go on their way. So, simple, easy peasy. Question 1. This will be a section for you to unmute yourself. So if you could raise your hand, and I will call upon you as I can. Um, was there a particular mantra line that you felt connection with? Why do you think it resonated with you? I will flick back to the previous screen to keep it open. But if you could raise your hand, and I'll call upon you to unmute yourself. Don't everybody jump in at once. There we go. Yes, Cole, you can go for it.
Hey there. Well, for me, the final line is probably the most resonating with me, only because I find the authenticity about really sharing and being honest with yourself and with others about how your emotions are affecting you and you know how that can dominate your view to a certain degree. But if you can take a moment and regain your calm and regain like attentiveness to what you're doing and how it's affecting you and how you're affecting everybody around you, then might be able to try to get back to a state of peace. And for me, I mean, there are lots of times that I definitely have to remind myself of that, especially at my job or just dealing with customers in general.
Absolutely. No, it's important to be able to just center yourself and like hear it and then go, okay, thank you for your input. Emotions. We'll listen to it and move on from there. Dan McCann, the man, you can go next.
All right. So I actually the last one really spoke to me as well as the second from the last. I will be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. Again, so that I don't get into knee jerk reactions. I will be try to be mindful of my emotions and realize what's happening. And I love the way Cole was saying that he has to deal with a lot with people on a regular basis. So yeah, I deal with people as well. And there's some people that will definitely try your your limits. But yeah, being able to control those emotions, not blow up on them, and just redirect them. Yeah, take control of yourself, and that way you can control at least that part of the situation.
Absolutely. I know a couple people jumped in just now. There's a question. Feel free to raise your hand. We're going over the lines of the code on the screen now. Next, I have Corvo in line. Hello, Corvo. Do you wanna raise your hand? Speak up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
was
you
trying to get it to switch over. I'm
go.
sorry, my mic was not working for me. But I would definitely say the second line uh, did resonate with me quite a bit because that does show, yes, as living, breathing things, we are always dealing with our emotions and trying to suppress them, trying to control ourselves like that. It's possible, but only if we embrace and acknowledge the fact that our emotions need to exist for us to be living, breathing entities, as well as understand ourselves and to think logically and critically by admitting, hey, yes, we do have these emotions. Yes, they are high right now. This would be wiser to not do that, to keep ourselves within a state of calm and serenity so that we might be able to come out with the best solution overall for any given situation.
Absolutely. I think it's called emotional hijacking when it's your emotions aside to, take the pilot seat and you just end up watching it uh, unfold before you. To go read out a couple that were written in chats. Relia mentioned that she loves the second line, how it's offering the emotions a space to be heard and understood deeply. Um, yeah, it's like we aren't machines. We ain't AI. We are living, breathing things, and if you don't give the space for those to be heard and understood, they're just gonna keep screaming in the background. Their emotions can be like a little toddler. You got to give them some space to be understood and heard, or else they're just gonna keep getting louder, and eventually they're gonna bite you. So, and it's good to give them the space you need. And then Aether commented. Personally, I agree with Cole and Dan. Emotions are involuntary, are an involuntary product we produce in reaction to experiences. Using them as guidance is crucial. Control is my favorite as we find ourselves is in instinctual dilemmas sometimes, fight or flight with emotions. Yeah, again, I think as I said, it's called emotional hijacking. But you listen, you give the space, but you don't need to listen to them. You just have to hear them, give them that time. Do, 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 do. Next in line, I got Irta, if I'm pronouncing that right. If you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, and Cliff Garner on Facebook, but I changed
Mhm.
it to Urta because that's what I use on the Discord. So I just thought it was best to be consistent that way.
I thought I recognized the profile photo. Looks real
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Thank you. So I'm going with the third one. As many people, I will be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. And I'm thinking about it right now, in terms of like the struggle that I've had for many years, that used to be so much harder, before I kind of developed some skills. But I've struggled like many people with anxiety and to some extent with depression, and being mindful of those emotions, recognizing what's happening is just like an essential survival strategy so that you are able to take control and not allow yourself to spiral, you know. So that one really speaks to me.
Again, very much agree. Um, Controlling your actions is really the most important part um, of listening to emotions. Um, the Onion Knight is down here. Hello, Sasha. You ready to go?
Sure. I think I mentioned something about this last time in the previous class when we were talking about the more traditional Jedi code. And I was talking about how emotions are things that, they tell us about ourselves, they tell us about um, things that we have experienced as far as like trauma and triggers and things like that. And that they can be wonderful guides as long as you don't let them overtake you. You had mentioned emotional hijacking, as long as you don't let your emotions take over and dictate your actions. They can be wonderful guides for things that you still need to work on, and um, letting you understand, situations that may be are unsafe or things like that. Um, I was I had posted something in the chat from the last lesson about something that I had discovered recently called the apophatic tradition, which is this idea of it's generally used in reference to the divine, but they say you can't say that something is you can't say that the divine is something. You have to say what it is not, because otherwise you limit it with our human language. And one thing that I've been working on recently is trying to remind myself that I am not my emotions. I am not my anger. I am not my sadness. I am not this. I am not that, because um, they can feel very consuming at times. And I think being able to sort of distance yourself and step back from those emotions and look at them and say, what are they trying to tell me, rather than identifying with them, can be a very powerful, a very powerful method, a very powerful practice.
Very true. It's emotions can be very much a mirror to hold up to yourself. We can hear a lot about ourselves by hearing our emotions, and like it can tell us a lot about what we actually believe about a situation. And being able to reflect upon that and act rationally, it's what makes us human. Being able to do that consciously and choosing to hold our emotions, restrain our emotions, and weigh the consequences of acting on them. That's what makes us Jedi. Jumping over to the chats. Let's see. Christine mentioned this holds true for anyone that gets panic attacks or anxiety. Absolutely. It's I think my one of my siblings, they suffer with panic attacks, and they always have to tell themselves, "There's no bear, there's no bear in the closet. There's no bear in the closet," because sometimes it feels like there's a bear in the closet, and that's why they're freaking out. But when they open up the closet, there's nothing in the closet, except a terrible wardrobe. They don't get to wear as many robes as I do. You have to remember that you will be okay. You have made it through before. You know the signs and symptoms. It is hard to do when your heart is racing and palpitating, and you feel the panic starting in your stomach. Absolutely. I know some people might struggle to feel emotions, but then there's some of us that the emotions can be so overwhelming, and that's really the biggest struggle. Being able to practice restraint, not fall into the pitfall of haste. Being able to measure your own emotions out and go, like, okay, what am I actually feeling? You know what you're feeling. You know you've been through this before. Let's not like rush into this and end up hurting the people around us. And Mr. Archamaris. Archamaris is ready to go.
I am driving, so I'm going to try to
Okay.
talk and
No crashing.
focus on the road. I will try to limit my crashing.
Okay.
So I like the I don't have it memorized anymore, but the line about the one everybody's talking about, the emotions. I will control my actions. I will be mindful of my emotions. It goes so much further than just reactionary actions when you have this practice, because it goes, not only is it, I don't want to be angry about this, so I'm going to let it go, but it can also be, this event isn't good or bad, it just is. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. I don't remember who says that, but it's one thing that I've kept in my head for a long time. One of my favorite things to say is just the word is, because it's not future, it's not past, it's not what I want it to be. It's just these are the facts as they are, and there's no implication of the facts. They're just facts. It's just is. And if you keep yourself from reactionarily judging the facts, then you're not happy or upset that something happens. You can be objective about what it might mean.
Very, very much like going through the events in life. Things could seem just so important when sometimes it isn't. Just today, Ether and I were going into town, and I looked over. I saw a school full of school children, and I think they were on like their break or whatever. They're all playing, and you go around and you see, and I noticed them all and saw, like, you could see their friend groups, you could see all that, and I remember that time, and in my own life, and going, everything that they're going through right now can seem so important and so like all encompassing, and yeah, it is important to them at that moment, but in the grand scheme of things, my elementary school years are, like, long forgotten. Like all the dramas that I went through, the fights I had with the different my colleagues. I don't like my colleagues, my fellow peers. I don't even remember their names. I don't even think they remember me. But it was important to me then, and now it's like, okay, well, there's nothing. But that's mostly because we were all much more. I think, as like when we're younger, we're way more emotional, and as we grow older, you have to learn to control those emotions, or else you consider to be quite childish. Quickly jumping over to actually, Mr. Dan McCann, you can go. See, you've raised your hand again.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Jumping in off of what Christine was saying earlier about knowing these emotions and feeling them coming on. I've had situations where I've had emotions hit me, and for days, and have gotten me down. I don't know where they came from, no matter how much I sit and meditate on it. And I know in those cases, I just have to sometimes just know that they're going to be there, even though they're like the toddler screaming in the back of your mind. But knowing that I will get through it, and that there will be, I'll come back around to having a lighter heart again.
Very well said. Yeah, being able to just move into a different time, like like yeah, especially when you take into account like panic attacks and all that. Like it's like this isn't going to last forever. It feels like it is,
Yes,
but
especially when
we will
it
get through.
might be an effect on somebody else around you as well. When you try to mitigate that, just by making them aware that I'm down. I don't know where it's coming from. I just so so it's not you.
Very good. Somebody, where was it? I saw Mr. Mayor said in chat, I feel like emotions, if left unchecked, can cause real damage. Thoughts lead to actions very quickly if we're not careful. There's a lot of things that happen around us in the world that are done in emotion, done very quickly, done very reaction, like in reaction to things that hurt, that could either cause like very, very real damage. I think, especially if you look at the people of authority, a police officer, for example, must remain in control of their emotions because their actions can really damage a person. Not so much, I think, here in like the UK, but like I think we all know examples in our lives where a police officer could act out of emotion and undo the value of their own station. As Jedi, that is a station, and we have to do our best to not act on emotion because that's what our counterparts do. Oh God, people are chatting away. Ali said, for me, it's a moment in time where I'm in the moment of time where it's the first line, I'm a Jedi, a guardian of peace, that resonates with me. This line is like a cheerleader to pursue the next 3 journeys in the meditation. It's all of it stems from reminding yourself you're a Jedi, because if you take that out, it's good advice, but it lacks a foundation on which, like, why we're actually tackling all of this. Christine goes back into imagine fighting the fear of heights because you have to go up a mountain during a hike or adversely make your way down, but the trail is steep and the fear and panic speaks that you can slip and fall and go very far and get very badly hurt or lost in deep forests. It happened to me. Toby, do you want to speak out loud, Toby, or if you can't find the hand raising thing,
Found it.
You found it. There you go.
I personally love the 4th one because I'm one of those people who has way too much going on inside, and it helps for me to tell what isn't relevant to just go away for a moment, let me get things sorted out, and then come back to it.
Yeah, it's like you're recognizing the space for the emotion. You're thanking it for existing, and you're going like, "Hey, like, be quiet for a moment, please." Like, thank you. Thank you for your input.
Then we can
A customer service relation member will be with you in 3 to 5 business days. Emotions.
No. Mine's operating at the same speed as the North Carolina viral record. If you send something in on August 1st, we will see you around December 19th.
Very good. It's always best not to act too hastily on emotions. Personally, I think the whole code is pretty good, but I think it's that I'll be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. That goes best with me. People that have known me throughout my Jedi career, so to speak, know that I used to be a very emotional being. Um, it can be quite like I used to act very quickly when I probably shouldn't have. And I have suffered consequences in different Jedi groups because I decided rather than like I'd be like, oh, angry, react, and go whoop, and then afterwards go, oh, I should have seen that trap coming, and I ended up suffering the consequences for it. Emotions can be like a hot iron rod. You can look at it and go, maybe I should wait until it cools down, or I could grab it and hold on to it until it cooks me nice medium rare. I believe there are a few people that have not spoken yet. Um, oh, thank you, Ali. Thank Ali sent me a list. I'm going to go call people. um, Regimite, hey, I know you came in a little later. Do you want to speak at all, or?
I've just been listening. I don't know what the question might have been.
Once
So
I
if you
got
want
it
to
on the
reiterate
screen.
that.
It's the question is, was there a particular mantra line that you felt connection with? Why do you think it resonated with you? And you got the code on the screen now.
Okay, so of this mantra here, what line resonates with me? Is that what the
Which
question
one?
is?
Yeah, basically, which one did you feel a connection with, and why do you think it resonated with you?
Right. Um, well, we'll go with the third one here. Be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. I think it's very easy to get caught up in an emotion and react to what you're feeling in that emotion to make actions happen. Being mindful of your emotions is, considering why you're feeling the emotions at the time you're feeling the emotions, consider what they mean, but rationalizing your thought process into your actions so you're not just acting out of emotion, that to say something you don't truly need to say or something to that effect, or act harshly, rashly, put yourself in a predicament that, like you were saying earlier, you feel anger, you say something, and then you're feeling the repercussions of it.
Very well said. And I have James Hansen with their hand raised. You ready to go?
Yeah. So I came in late. I had to get my bearings a little bit, but
Absolutely.
so yeah, I think that first line is the one that jumps out to me the most. I am a Jedi, a guardian of peace, and like I'm just struck by the responsibility of that, like to be a representation of Jedi and Jedi community in the world, and to consider myself a guardian of peace is a massive task in my opinion. And um, in order to do that, like it just takes a lot of focus, but you have to have peace within yourself if you want to spread peace in the world and not make situations worse when there's like some kind of chaos happening around you, whatnot. But yeah, that's the one that definitely hits me the hardest. And yeah.
Yeah. Being a guardian of peace, of course, being like external and internal. Like we don't want to add to the chaos of the world, but also we need to maintain the peace within ourselves. it's a promise to both others and yourself to be a guardian of peace. To go, yeah, like emotions will try to cause up a hurricane inside of you, and you got to be there to calm it down and go, hey, not here, not the time, not the place.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I can think of so many situations where there's conflict and people act out of emotions, and it just creates a snowball effect, and just things just get worse and worse and more out of hand. And I can think of times where I've been able to stop that process, like either through just like being calm or maybe using humor, and just kind of like, and it's a fun thing to do when you can accomplish it. So yeah, I don't know. That is the one that speaks to me the most, for sure.
God, I do believe that's everybody. Of course, if you've not typed anything out, you can always make sure you write it in the chat. We'll get to you in a moment. But from there, I believe that's everybody. So we shall be moving onwards. So, as previously mentioned, this is not just a like a code. A few years ago, a few of us got together and made a physical moving meditation for it, which involves lightsabers. You can do it without it, I believe. But lightsabers look cool, so you can do it with one. I recommend it. So we will be going into that now. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. So there is no audio with this just yet. It is a new version of the Meditation of the Heart video. So we'll be going through that today, and I'll be just doing sort of a voiceover. So the first line is, I am a guardian, a Jedi, a guardian of peace, as we just went into. We start with the lightsaber, feet together, lightsaber point down to our side as if waiting. And you are just merely contemplating that line to start. As we open up, we pull the lightsaber open, flip over, and get ourselves into a ready stance. We open ourselves wide and into a tall mounted pose, reminiscent of what we see in the Star Wars A New Hope poster. Pull it down into in front of our eyes. Take a deep breath. You're preparing for the overall meditation. We'll go through it again. Point down, open up, flip into forward grip, widen ourselves up, tall mountain pose, and pull down. Take a deep breath. These are my emotions. Let them speak to my soul. We're simply drawing a line between ourselves and our emotions. You're flipping the blade around, point down, and drawing that line between yourselves and your emotion. During this line, contemplates the emotion, contemplates why the line needs to be drawn. Do this as many times as you need to until you complete the train of thought. You can simply move the blade back and forth if the wristed movement itself is a little too difficult for yourself. Then we move on to the warrior's pose. There's no line for this part. You're simply moving up into the warrior's pose where your lightsaber is up and ready to strike. Then you lower your blade and raise your hand out as if you're offering it to your emotions. You're trying to come to a middle ground with yourself and your emotions and the things around you. So you're a guardian, but you are also a guardian of peace. You're trying to come to that middle ground. You do this until you feel comfortable to move on. Go on to lighting the blade. This is 2 counterclockwise movements with your hands. You ignite the blade and you can start doing the counterclockwise movement. It's very simple. Basically, move your unarmed hand close to yourself so that the blade can move forward in movement in the circles, and then you finish off at this meditative pose where you let the saber fall into the crook of your arm and take a deep breath. Let yourself contemplate, let yourself breathe. Give yourself the space for that movement. Then we go on to, I will be mindful of my thoughts and control my actions. You're striking down and then pulling your saber up into a sideways block and then striking down again. You could do this fast, you could do this slow. The idea is you are striking down your emotions, you're giving yourself the space between the emotions that would try to hijack you, but you're also acting in defense. You continue doing this until you're ready to move on. These are my emotions. Thank you. Be still and go in peace. I'm going to go back a little bit here. As you can see, there are 2 different versions. I put a side view and the bow variant because there are 2 different variants. You got the European bow and the Siza bow variant. From the strikes, you will then move to a reverse grip, stab the ground, and then you can bring it up into your hip and turn off the blade and sheath it. Of course, the Siza style, which we will go back just a little bit. Go back further. You place the blade on the ground in front of you, turn it off, and bow, and then assume a meditation stance to finish off the overall meditation. Of course, throughout this, you will notice the lovely Sophie has supplied a seated version of the meditation. If you're unable to stand for the meditation or do that type of physical work, you can take the time to do it seated. You can do this at any point throughout your day if you'd like, with small, simple movements. Oh, you don't need a lightsaber to do it. It is a moving meditation, but that doesn't mean you have to have a very expensive lightsaber to do it. Another part of this meditation is it could be done as part of a labyrinth. You could do it moving around the spiral of a labyrinth or moving through the overall pattern of a labyrinth, depending on the type of labyrinth in store for you. So, as I mentioned, this is the new version of the new video version of it. It is still in progress, so you guys are getting a little bit of a sneak peek at it today. Some work is still being done. Yes, filming by Aether. Yeah. Sit behind the camera. Doing it in a labyrinth can be quite fun. I did it for the last Secret semester. Now, how do I move forward? I don't want to skip forward. The video's done. There we go. Question 2. Now that we've watched that, after watching the Meditation of the Heart video, what were some things that you noticed about the movements in relation to the mantra associated with it? This is the time to raise your hands, or if you could start typing in the chat whatever your thoughts are, you can start doing that now. but I'll be looking for some raised hands any second now. So give yourself a second to think about it, and we can go into that. Garvo, fantastic. If you want to go first.
What I noticed for especially applying to the second line of it, this is that these are my emotions. When you were moving and basically creating a barrier saying, yes, I realize that this is a place where emotions exist, but I still need to maintain a barrier between my emotions and my actions for it as well.
Mm. Having that barrier, you're protecting others and yourself, your own peace, as you said. So it's a very good point.
The other
Yeah.
The other part I noticed at the end, for depending on which applies to anyone, however they want to do it, for the final bow, it doesn't really matter which way you do it with Saiza or the knight's bow for it. Basically saying, with this, at least from my takeaway for it, this is my vow and my promise to be better and to be a warrior for peace.
Mm.
And this is the line I am towing.
Very true. I think it's a big part is the turning off the lightsaber. It's sort of a reminder that the most powerful aspect of the lightsaber is the ability to turn it off. And as Jedi, we should be able to turn off when we turn off our blade when it is tempting to use it. Dan McCann, you get your hand raised.
All right. So again, I have to say the part where it was I'll be mindful of my emotions and control my actions. The striking motions you're doing there to pretty much the four corners, as you had did it. That again, you're in essence you're fighting with yourself to put those emotions in place. That's about the only place I saw in there where there was any sort of attacking motion. All the rest was pretty much defensive.
Exactly. Yeah. It was very deliberate to make the choice to have the lighting of the blade so late in the line in the code. At first, I thought when we were making this, I was like, "Well, what's the point of having the lightsaber if we're not going to turn it on till later?" But it is a deliberate choice to remind us turning on the lightsaber is a last resort, and at first we're making a
Indeed.
barrier between ourselves, and then we are going and striking down the things, the striking, and it was a very important choice to like symbolically to go. We will strike eventually, but it is so late in the code, and then right afterwards we're turning it off and putting it away.
Oh, it's taken a direct action in,
Mhm.
against your emotions.
Exactly. Sometimes you have sometimes just like anything. Sometimes you do have to grab something by the ear and go, no, we're done with it. Stop it. But yeah, very good points. Tragemites, I got you on now.
I mean, kind of going off of what Dan was saying with that motion, but like the entire um, performance there, for lack of a better word, um, very deliberate actions that manifest the idea behind the mantra, the code here. Um, the guardian of peace. So you have a lightsaber in your hand, and drop it behind and offer your hand in peace. The striking motion is striking down, as opposed to a killing blow, of striking torso, head, or anything like that. You're striking down almost in a defensive strike. Like, so you're maintaining that idea that you are not the aggressor. You are in control of your swing, and you will move it where it needs to be, based on what it is you're dealing with. And then the reverence, the bow at the end, the sheathing your saber is, this is, a sacred thing in a sense, that what you're doing isn't just, dismissing or asserting dominance or something on that level. You're like, look, we've come to this end, and now I respect what you are. Be in your place, go in peace, and we're good, kind of thing. So that's what I took from that.
Yep. And it's all about respect, because emotions have always been there with us, for us, especially when we were younger. As part of growing up is, not having to be reliant on it. And I think there was the Aesop fable about the dog, that there's an old hunting dog, that the master was like sick of, because he wasn't able to hunt anymore. He went to go put him down, and the dog said, "Don't hate me for what I am. Love me for what I was to you." I can sometimes be very angry at my emotions, which is ironic, for like trying to hijack me. But it's like, no, you're just trying to keep me safe. You're trying to remind me, like, to take care of myself, to draw those barriers between myself and those that would harm me. I'll get right to you, Cole. I'm just gonna read a couple out in chat. Relia said, "I have an unfair advantage of having read through this lesson earlier today." Yes, thank you for reminding me that the lesson was today. I was like, "Oh, the 19th, that's in 2 days." Nope. It's today is my next lesson in the program. One of my favorite parts was during the third line when we were striking, how it was noted we aren't trying to kill kill who we are or our emotions, but the chaos that keeps us from seeing through them. Yeah, it's a sort of like because it's a motion that you'd be like, you're striking down through a defense. You're trying to lower the defense of the opponent. You're not going to strike them. You're trying to basically move their ability to attack them. I didn't miss. I'm just going through things, Aether. Goodness gracious. I like this one, the temporal aspect of control, because the movements are consistently smooth. The repetition too correlates to the mantra, as it is a continuous practice. You work through it until it's done. When like you even when you're exhausted, because some of these movements, if you're going through them for a while, you're going to be sore. We had to do quite a bit of filming for this video, and the last time I did it as well. And I think, as Sophie can also attest to, it can be quite exhausting to film it over and over and over and over again. I'm just going to keep playing this on repeat while we do this, so people can go through it while they have their thoughts. Sasha, it's like offering. I like the action of offering the hand in front of you, as though you were saying, "Emotions, come with me and take my hand, and we will work through this together." But the saber is ready in the event that the peaceful offer is not accepted, and one must defend their psyche. Absolutely, having it open, ready, like it's not on yet, but a lightsaber, it can be quickly turned on. The idea is that we don't want to strike down our good friend, our ally that's always been there for us. But if it's gonna bite you in the hand, you got to be ready for that. Mr. Mayor, the one that stood out to me was the initial move of the saber, pointed straight down, then moved outwards to the side. This offers to everyone that you mean for peace. Your body is completely open to attack, yet yet you are very calm. Yeah, the sabers to the side. You're really not going to be able to do much from there. You're breathing. You're taking the moment. You're in fiction, you would see sometimes Jedi would just simply reveal the fact that they had a lightsaber. And that was often enough to finish the fight. It's like, I have this. I don't want to. I don't want to touch it, but it is here. And it's a very slow unveiling of it and going, it's here. I'm taking the steps to reveal that it's here. I am taking the steps to come to a middle ground, and then we're going into a defensive readiness. I love the instead of with Sophia showing an alternative way to do it, not just for those with limited ability, but as a way to blend it in with other forms of performance, as this was, as was being said about doing it in a labyrinth. Yep, like having alternative options. Like there are different people have different levels of ability, sometimes forced upon us, or sometimes just lightsabers aren't exactly the easiest things to use. So yes, this is the overall form, but remember to take in like your own personal ability, your own personal comfort with it. You don't have to go through it at this speed or with a full range of motion as needed. Toby said, but I know they have their hand raised. Very much appreciated having a seated version as a person with limited mobility. Absolutely, I think it's very important to have that. Christine said, "I'll be mindful of my thoughts and my actions. The swings seem to me to be defensive actions or parrying, as if deflecting the unnecessary thoughts and consciously removing unnecessary actions in the body through the movement, aligning breathing, mind, body into one, efficient and focused." Yeah, of course, breathing is a big part of the strikes. Like breathing out to like you're you're not only expelling the emotions, but you're pushing like all your breath out of your body to do an effective strike. And then you're pulling up into defensive. That gives you a chance to breathe in. Your whole chest can expand, and then out again. You're like in and out, up and down. It's a beautiful cycle. Cole, I said I would get back to you. You've raised your hand and been so patient. You can go now.
That's all good. I love hearing everybody's thoughts on it. The one of the things that really struck me in the video, especially whenever you have already ignited your saber, and you're executing the overhead strikes, whenever it displays on the screen about controlling your actions or controlling one's actions. I think it's also a bit of a poetic thing as well that with those strikes you open yourself up. And by, being able to strike in those particular ways, you have to kind of open yourself up. But not even just in that physicality, but in an emotional sense. Like you have to be able to be open to a degree in order to face not just your own emotions, but the emotions of others that might come your way.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's to fight somebody with a sword, one must be ready to be struck with a sword. Like if you get to that point where you have to go on the offensive, you have to be ready to also fail in that method. It sucks when we do fail, but failure is it's the ultimate teacher of a Jedi.
Right.
You're going to fail, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get struck. As a person who uses a lightsaber quite regularly, the amount of times I've hit myself with a lightsaber and like straight up knocked myself onto the ground, it happens. But especially when you're dueling an opponent, sparring with somebody, you're gonna get hit. It's And with your emotions, you're not going to win every time. It's going to leave marks, and those marks have to be a lesson for later.
In knife defense, same thing. Fighting with a knife or defending even, you go in expecting you're going to get cut.
Mhm.
Right. Let
Um,
alone facing the reality of it and, being able to accept it, but then move on from that acceptance.
Exactly.
Very good. Toby, you're up next.
I actually cold nailed what I was going to say because there are many positions within it that you do end up opening yourself. Um, and that is a valuable skill to have, to trust your opponent enough to not only open yourself, especially when your opponent is basically yourself, but to trust that opening to not fail you. I'm sorry. It's late. I'm tired.
No, it's very late for me too.
I hope that made sense.
It did. No, well said. And got James ready to go. You ready, James?
Yes, sir. So I don't have a lightsaber. What I do have is I have a painted walking stick that my dad painted many, many years ago. So I was trying to go along with it while I was watching it on the video. And what I'm struck by is the deliberate action and almost counterintuitive motion of it. So like you're very like this is something that definitely will take practice and just bringing emotions and philosophy into the physical, I think, is a really good way to practice. Sort of reminds me of the sun salutations in yoga. Um, but yeah, like the circular motions and just kind of the counterintuitive motions that don't really feel like they come natural makes it so like when I was trying to do it, like I really had to like pay attention and focus. So that's what I've taken from it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when we're dealing with our emotions, you have to be deliberate because it's very easy to just give in, to act on the instinct, especially in a fight or flight scenario. Um, you have to be smart about it. A personal example, I have a colleague who has been is very aggressive with everyone that we work with. I'm not quite certain why he works there. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with it very often, and he largely works by himself. Um, the other day, he was very angry at me, and he was taking it out on my colleagues as I came into work. I decided to pull his attention to myself, and he tried to bring me to an area where I knew there was no cameras. And I realized what he was trying to do. Of course, my initial reaction was follow him. He wants to fight. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. But I realized the guy is a good foot taller than me and has been abusing steroids for many, many years. Going to an area with no cameras is not a wise decision. Take a breath, pull myself back, take 2 steps to the left, where there's 2 cameras on me, and all of a sudden all the fight left him, and he didn't want to have a talk anymore for some reason. um so the emotions would have led to probably me getting hurt, um or at least yelled at uh very intensely, but once I realized where I could position myself and not listen to my emotions and realize I could have this conversation, but I can also have this conversation in an area of my control. He's the one that wants to have it. So the blinding emotion
So
was follow him. The smart person behind it said, go into a place where you are in control.
this one in particular that was just on the screen where is like you're moving your arm with the lightsaber one way and you're moving your other arm the opposite way, and that being the lighting of the blade
Yep.
that's pretty profound actually, because like that's not easy to do. That's like rubbing your belly and patting your head to me.
Yeah, no, especially
It
when you're
is
going,
not easy. It is not easy. That is
especially
like
when
the
you're going from,
hardest part for me.
yeah, most people really struggle with that because it's like, wait, and then all of a sudden you're tucking you're putting your saber hand in there, and you're like, oh, I can't move anymore.
Yeah,
It's
when
yeah.
I was trying to follow along and I realized what you were doing, I was almost like exasperated. I'm like, ah, really? Yeah, yeah, and having that be the moment that you're lighting the blade and you're choosing to like engage in whatever it is you need to engage with, like having that require the utmost thought and practice, like I'm impressed,
Mm.
honestly.
There's a line in the comics where Anakin and Obi-Wan are talking about the lightsaber. And Anakin asks, why do we use a lightsaber? There's surely more effective weapons. And Obi-Wan's talking about a lightsaber design that he had come up with that required attaching two tiny little lightsabers to the end of a really long rope and spinning around, basically a rope dart.
Mhm.
And he said, what my master had taught me was the lightsaber. We don't choose it because it's the most effective tool. We choose it because it requires thought, it requires training, and it requires a deliberateness. But we also choose it because it is limited. You can't shoot somebody with a lightsaber. You have to get up close. You have to take it off your belt. You have to ignite it. You have to be able to use it effectively and like with intention. And yeah, that that movement where we're igniting it, it shows the intention. It shows that you know what you're doing with it, because to do it, that movement, it's not exactly the most intuitive movement. You're going and breathing. You're taking a moment to be like, I know what I'm doing with this. I know what I am capable of. But it also gives, as there's no line repeated with this this section. I think as a deliberate choice to go, we're choosing to display that we know what we're doing, that we have that skill, but we're still taking a moment between that and striking. Let's see, is there anybody else? Do, 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 do. Arkmaris, have you given a answer yet?
I think I was still in the dead zone when the question was asked.
Sorry, you seem to be very digitized. I don't know if maybe it's just because you're still on the road. This might be something that
Is
we
it
might
better
want
now?
to. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Yeah,
I said I think I was still in the dead zone when the question was asked.
for sure. Do you want to answer it now or?
What is the question?
Well, let me pull it up here.
He might have some difficulty unless he was able to watch the video. If he's driving, he might not be able to watch that.
Yeah, if you're not able to watch the video,
I've seen the old one. Will it translate?
Yeah, it's the same thing. We just decided, the cast hasn't changed, but the characters have. So we decided to redo it. So it is the same movements.
Okay. So what was the question?
So the question is, after watching the Meditation of the Heart video, what are some things you noticed about the movements in relation to the mantra associated with it?
Well, I mean, each one, obviously corresponds to an interpretation of the code. So almost like an interpretive dance, I guess.
Yes.
I don't really have more details on that, but
No problem at all. I know you're driving. If you do have other thoughts, like of course, you can always post them in your journal later. There's no rush on that.
Yeah.
Um. Da, 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 da.
I did this one in my solo seeker, but
Mhm.
it has been a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Last person left, I believe. Have you gone yet, or?
Well, I just think that the entire thing seems really beautiful as a moving meditation. Um, and some of it really reminds me a lot of things that I've seen in Kung Fu with the two arms moving at the same time. And when I used to do Kung Fu, I would kind of think things like this, like a pushing away is the pushing away of maybe negative emotions or things that we're having to face. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I've really enjoyed what a lot of people have said about it, but sorry.
Yeah, no, I get you. Going last, of course, there's so much, there's so much that's been said that you probably already you're just like, well, I agree with. Um, but what about, was there anything that you like, you really like, as you said, you about the kung fu and the what the term is called, like isolated movements, like mirror each other, the pushing and the pulling at the same time, the left hand and the right hand moving opposite of each other.
Yeah, when I first started training, we did what was called a double block. And I remember how very hard it was to do that initially. And when you're swinging the sword, like someone else commented, with the arm kind of mirroring it, it really reminded me of that. And I think as a kind of bodily metaphor for what we might be facing emotionally, I think, yeah, it seems very powerful. It's something I definitely want to try.
I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. Um, it's not an easy movement. I always just recommend go one hand at a time. Just start with that. Um, and then eventually, like if you do it with one hand, if you could do it with the other hand, you just got to do it at the same time. Sounds simple, it isn't, but we're Jedi. We do our best. Um, Dan, I saw you raise your hand for a second there. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I was gonna add to what Erda was saying. Yes, it is very much like certain martial arts movements with a lower block, a higher block at the same time, and then repeating that same one side. And it's one of those things that if you've done martial arts and you've gotten to a belt level where you're doing that, yeah, you're doing two different types of blocks together, and now with that you're continuing it and doing it a total fan motion over and over, doing the same side each time. Because you can also do it on the other side, going the opposite way. But yeah, definitely, it's those are that was actually like one of my fun movements that imitates for similar forms, and it was I always loved that one, that particular block. And yes, you got to imagine, uh, as Urta was saying, pushing something away or what's coming at you, maybe that, and how you're using it to defend yourself. In this case, control yourself.
Very good. Arkmaris, you have your hand raised.
I will say when I was doing it for Solo Seeker, the line I chose to go over was the one with the be mindful of my emotions. And I was using a bow staff to like convert it from the saber to the staff, and the conversion made it very important to be mindful of your emotions and your actions. It was frustrating at times, so it worked out really well.
Yep, very important, especially with the staff. My goodness, I know some people have asked me like about this form. Like, oh, could you do it with the saber staff? I was like, yes, go for it. Like, there you go. Sasha says it's wax on, wax off, and it's for me personally that because I think that particular line I think resonates with a lot of people because the lightsaber turn on, shiny, pretty, um, but it's a very big moment where it's like all of a sudden everything goes on, but the movement itself, um, you're drawing your saber, you're drawing it down in front of your face, and then your other hand goes up in front of your face. It's a wax on, wax off. You're taking that moment to breathe, but I think it's also important to recognize what the hands are doing. One is with the saber, one is empty. The force is still in play until that movement. The saber's only in one hand, and then when we go into the strikes, it's in two. It's you're giving that moment to be like the force is still in play. I'm still trying to pull the force into me and give that section that time before both hands are on the blade and gloves are off with the opponent that is your emotions. A final call for anybody who wants to say anything. I think we've gone through everybody. I think everybody's spoken. No, perfect. Let's no. Let's move on. But cool. Well done. That has been the meditation of the heart. It's been hopefully by now you have a understanding of not only the physical emotions but the code itself. I think having the physical motions and that video helps to really like hammer the lines of the code into your mind, because people like having a physical thing to go along with things. It's very easy. Like in practice, if I was just to teach you how to write the letter A, nobody would know anything. But if I show you and you get to hold the pen, then that's when you get to learn to write the letter A. So having the physical motion tied to it really can help learn a new meditation. So, bonus question. You thought this was over. How many moths appeared throughout the lesson? And if anyone who's been actually watching the video, you'll notice moths appeared all around the video. Did anybody count? Toby says 8.
Can't say I counted, but I did notice.
You did notice.
37.
37. It's a good guess. Whoever gets the right amount gets a bottle of jelly beans.
123, because you played that video over many times.
23? You got there. There's 4.
I'm on a phone, so I only saw the moths on the slides. I didn't see a single one in the video.
There was none in the video. I only count the ones on the slides. I don't. One got very close. It's 22. If we counted the one in the bonus question, it would have been 23. But no, we're not counting that one. But yes, thank you all for attending. This has been the meditation of the heart. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any further thoughts about it, be sure to record it in your journals. If you weren't able to answer all the questions, I'm pretty sure everyone who attended was able to give their thoughts, but be sure to make sure you answer them questions in your journals. These are graded, of course. But of course, thank you all for attending. It was lovely seeing so many people come in. May the force be with you all.
Oh, it's made a force be with you.